All right. Hey, everybody. Just a quick reminder about these videos you're about to see. They were pre-recorded, and this premiere episode of Season 4, I recorded all the way back in February of 2021. Things are going to look a little different as always. I thought about putting in a fake ad like I do a lot of times for these Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. videos, but I just couldn't land on any one idea. I thought about doing something about the penance stare, but it never really gets talked about too much. I don't know if at all. I thought about saying something about the framework. I thought about doing something with Ada, and I just had too many ideas. And so once I narrow them down, we'll start seeing the fake ads probably in the next episode. But this one is just your standard review. But keep an eye out for all those other things that we do usually. And again, don't be too jarred by the way things look then and now. So get ready for Season 4 videos starting right now. Enjoy. Ba 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 ba. Ba 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 la la ba 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 da 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 ba 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 ba. All right. Hey everybody, how you doing out there? This is Rob here at Smirking Gun Reviews. Back. This is a huge moment. So happy. We are finally talking about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 4. It's our old S.H.I.E.L.D. new review show back with Season 4 of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. My favorite season of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. All the other seasons, 1, 2, and 3 are great in their own ways, but 4 is, to me, just really, really special, and the budget was still going strong on this show. They really put a lot of money into this season, but we just get so many good things in this season that leads to the kind of that back half of the series, which is 5, 6. 5 is, maybe I'll feel differently about 5 the second time around. And 6 and 7 are basically one big season, but 6 and 7 are really, really solid. But this is kind of the last, and I, of course, I'm forgetting to hit play behind me. I'm so excited that I'm forgetting to start the thing behind me. But it's so fun to talk about it because this is the last time that the team really is, to me, the team. Because after Season 4, we end up in spoiler space and the whole thing with Coulson, and it's, we're on the ground still. We're still doing spy stuff. After Season 4, cosmic, and time travel and all sorts of crazy crap. And we lose Phil, the real Phil, eventually. And so this season really just brings it all. You've got Ghost Rider. You've got the framework and Ada. You've got the new director. You've got Yo-Yo joining the team full time. You've got Quake being a vigilante. And yes, she's known by Quake. So we've had Sky, Daisy, now Quake. If I bounce around, just know that those 3 names all mean the same person. But this is such an exciting about this because I have not seen these episodes since they first aired. And to me, like, just jumping in, I almost didn't want to even review it because I was like, I want to be able to sit and watch this without taking notes. But it was real easy to do both because I was so into it. And I think that, like, for people, if you don't know where to start with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and you don't really care, you can't go wrong starting with season 4 and then going, well, maybe I should go back and watch the other season. If you have to, like, if you need a recommendation of, like, what's the best season to start on, I'd say 4, but only if you don't care about, the history of all these characters. So let's jump in, talk about season 4, episode 1, The Ghost. But before we do that, if you're liking what we're doing here on the channel, fake ads and homemade theme songs and all, please consider liking the channel and subscribing to the channel. We're always doing new things, and we're big fans of all things pop culture. As you can see, I'm surrounded by things that I love. And I want to share my love of those things with you, including this show. So let's go. So, yeah, right from jump, this is one of the best beginnings of a season premiere. This is one of the best beginnings of any episode ever, because we have what starts out to be is Chloe Bennett, her Quake character, being a vigilante. She's getting ready. She's got cash. She's got ID. She's going after the watchdog. She's going after these, the racist people out there. We got the Aryan Brotherhood in this episode. She's full on doing her own thing. Sand Shield, who are still looking for her. And, we get this great moment with these guys, these Aryan Brotherhood guys. They're running from something, or it looks like, at first that they're the ones that they are the antagonists here. But really, what we find out is they're on the run. The first victim, though, in this scene is the trophy store. What? So there's like a trophy store that just gets gunned down in the street. So rest in peace, trophy store. We hardly knew ye. I don't know if there's a trophy for best trophy store, but but these guys are trying to take out something, but it turns out to not be, they're not trying to hurt anybody, like a civilian or be racist in this moment. Right now they're fearing for their own lives. And you think at first it's because they're afraid of Quake, who shows up, and just starts to demolish these guys right off the bat. But we find out immediately that it's not her they're afraid of. They talk about that you've got this I've been marked. This guy's coming for me. He's going to kill me. You got to save me. So the antagonists turn out to be, well, they're still bad guys, but they're the ones in trouble. And this is where we're introduced to the muscle car of the Ghost Rider. Let's just skip right to it, because if you haven't watched any of this right now, we're going to reveal a few things here. It's Robbie Reyes' Ghost Rider from the comics. I thought it was a really interesting choice to go with Robbie Reyes, but actually a smart one. Because we've seen Nick Cage's 2 movies for Ghost Rider. We don't need to retread of that. You're not going to get Nick Cage. Nobody probably wants to see anybody but Nick Cage at this point as Ghost Rider, even though I think that character needs a hard reboot for the MCU. So I think that introducing us to the muscle car Ghost Rider and Robbie Reyes, I think is a really good choice. I really do. Plus, muscle cars are badass, and seeing one get hit with a rocket launcher, flip into the air, land just fine, and then a guy with a flaming skull gets out, proceeds to tear these guys apart. We get to see some blood splatter everywhere. This guy's fucking people up. He is kicking ass and taking names, and Quake doesn't know what to do about this. There's fire everywhere she can't really see, but we just know the guys are getting torn apart. And she just gets out of there, does one of her Quake jumps as the cops show up, because she's kind of floored too, because she just came there to stop those guys. And now she's got a whole new player in town that is taking out the bad guys for her. Now, she's not there to kill. She's there to put them down and get them, arrested. But whoever's doing this is straight up killing them. Now, this is where we get our introduction to the rest of the team and the setup of the beginning of this season and where we're headed. So we've got Quake and Ghost Rider set up now. Now we've got to really realize that this is like
6 weeks or so later since they've been chasing Daisy, and that was before this. So there's been a lot of time that's gone by. The Sokovia Accords are in full swing. There's lots of rules, and Coulson's no longer the director of S.H.I.E.L.D., someone else is. We are not introduced to this person yet. He's just there, or she. It's a he, okay? Let's just skip to that part, but it's a he. Um, and how things are being done now, that things have changed, and S.H.I.E.L.D.'s being reined in, and they're, because of the Sokovia Accords and other things, about how basically they felt S.H.I.E.L.D. was doing business in the first place, how Hydra got in there, and basically, ate it from the inside out, that now there's a lot more oversight, a lot more control. And in a way, I think that had to happen. It's just something that some of our characters have a lot to get used to, like May, who is now feeling, pretty left out of things when she was so in the know when Coulson was in charge. Coulson himself is stuck there for been 6 weeks with Mack, just going from one place to another looking for Inhumans to put on the list and tag, what they call bag and tag, right? And make sure that no more incidents keep happening that have been happening in the past. Meanwhile, they're secretly just trying to track down Daisy. Then we have Fitz and Simmons, who, Simmons, oh man, is gotten cozy with this new director, and she is wielding it. It is a whole new Simmons. I mean, all our characters are kind of and given new roles here. And she's, a big, big deal now. She was always going to be, but now we get to see what it is. She's pretty much like one of the right-hand women, I should say, of S.H.I.E.L.D. right now. And Fitz, who's now got that transcranial apparatus that he's working on with Radcliffe that is being called the Framework, where it's basically a virtual world, kind of like the Matrix, where you can go in there and there's an architecture and it's basically built for like simulations and training. And that's just the beginning of this story that's going to take us down some pretty crazy rabbit holes. Seeing this obsession that takes hold of Fitz over the course of this season, of the ambition that him and Radcliffe have, and how they begin to justify where they're going for the sake of betterment of mankind. Right? All these things usually start with the best of intentions. But there's also the kind of feeling that you get from Fitz that he's, becoming like the more that they get involved with this framework, and in Ada that we see here and we're going to be talking about in a minute. Like that kind of always trying to, go further and farther and better with technology, that I don't think Fitz can really help himself. And where that takes him and how that changes him for the rest of the series. Also, we find out that there is a kill order basically out for Quake. That if she's not, if they're in a situation where they see her being dangerous to the public, they're told to kill her. That's the kind of new, look that we're going after, because she's not a part of it. She didn't sign the Sokovia Accord. She's doing her own thing. Even though she's going in this Aryan Brotherhood, they don't care. So whatever she's been doing, now there's like a possible kill order to be put her down. So that's just not sitting well with basically anybody. And it's also hard to see because it seems like Simmons is all for all of this. I mean, she even says that some of this stuff just had to happen. So it's fun to see our characters conflicted even with each other. This family unit has kind of been, blown apart after season 3. Even though, you got scenes like this where Fitz and Simmons and Coulson and Mack, they're all getting along. But there's that under the surface stuff, though, where, Daisy's gone. May's doing training again. Coulson's not the director. Mack's bored as hell. Yo-Yo has, has been doing her own thing. Fitz is working on the framework with Radcliffe, and Simmons is cozying up to the director. It's all a lot, but it's all done really, really well. Now, we also have some new anagrams. So, like with Shield, the strategic homeland whatever, whatever. I got it written on my goddamn shirt. Strategic Homeland Intervention Enforcement and Logistics Division. Like, it's been a long day. Sorry if I'm not able to pull all the words out. But we have a couple of new anagrams. One was called WIMP that had to do with what SHIELD would seem to be like with as far as their intelligence community went, as far as letting Hydra basically take over from within. But Simmons' new title being the Special Advisor to the Director of Science and Technology, or SADist. It's just great touches there. Now, you have to get to Fitz meeting Ada. Now, it was a funny, funny scene. She, because as far as Fitz knows, there's just a naked woman that Radcliffe has over at his house. And in typical Fitz fashion, it's, oh my God, I'm so sorry, until it's revealed that Ada is a LMD, a life model decoy that Radcliffe is trying to use, because he can't help himself either, even though this goes against his, his parole, basically. He's not to do any kind of experimentation. He has to have oversight. But even as Fitz is saying these things, you can just tell that he's like, but this is almost too good. Why would I tell on him? And he doesn't. And he even gets so far after Ada's like, oh, I'm just here to help. I'm here to design to be a decoy. I'm designed to be the shield, to get in front of the danger. Nobody else gets killed. Like Trip. She starts listing off all the people that have died. And once Fitz kind of uses that, I think, as an excuse in his brain, he's like, well, we can't tell Simmons, because if we tell Simmons, she's going to tell the director, and then they're going to find about you. This is all going to get shut down. It is going to be scrapped. And it's that advancement, not, that Fitz wants to get to, that pauses it. And now that's going to put a big strain on the relationship that he has with Simmons, because he's choosing to keep it secret from her because he's just so into what they're doing and the possibilities and the changing of the world and how many lives could be saved, when they're also ignoring the fact that this is also shit you just want to do. You just want to do it, but they are not saying those words that they need to say, right? Now, we got Yo-Yo back as well. Her flirting with Mack. Her basically, the reason they check in on her was an excuse to keep looking for Daisy. Mack trying to tell her that they can't be together because of fraternization, whatever. But the most interesting thing about when Yo-Yo shows up is we secretly has been meeting with Daisy. Occasionally, keeping her up to, the tabs that SHIELD are trying to put on her. And we also find out why Daisy doesn't want to go back. And it's because, in typical Daisy fashion, she doesn't want anybody else to die. That she's blaming herself for everything that happened because of what Hive was able to do to her. Lincoln's dead because of her, and I think she's doing one of those death follows me wherever I go. So if nobody, I'm going to do my own thing, and hopefully nobody but me will get hurt. But as we see by the end of this episode, she doesn't even, it's not even that. She's kind of looking for her own death. Meanwhile, mixed up in all of this is this truck that the Ghost Rider, Robbie Reyes, is really looking for. But S.H.I.E.L.D.'s looking for it, and so is Quake. So everybody's looking for this truck that has this mysterious object that when you look at it, it causes you to be extremely violent. And when they find these bodies, at first you think maybe it's Ghost Rider, but what it really is whatever's in that box makes you go crazy and turn on each other. Now, we also get to see Coulson's got some new apparatuses in his hand, so they can see through trucks now. We find that infinity symbol, or the sideways like infinity symbol. that we don't know what that means yet. We get Robbie Reyes taking out one of the Aryan Brotherhood with his Ghost Rider car. That was pretty sweet. He's, I don't deserve to die. Nobody says, like it's a violent episode. And I know that I just, it's such a weird change of pace, but I love it. I love dark where we're going in this. This is a dark season. Really, really dark. And you go, well, aren't they all kind of dark? Not like this. Not like this. This shit goes some pretty dark places this year, and I'm loving every second of it. But Daisy ends up finding a lead to the El Monte scrap and salvage yard where Robbie Reyes has got his whole operation running. And that leads to what we'll talk about in just a second. But first, we have Simmons versus May, which starts out nicely enough, but quickly gets personal. They're really happy with how, and she especially doesn't like how Simmons has been doing it. She doesn't like being on the outs. She doesn't like being in the know. And Simmons, her attitude, it's weird seeing Simmons this assertive, but there is that part of you that's like, man, girl, what's wrong with you? Because what she explains it as is that in order to actually protect, she is grabbing as much power as she can and cozying up to the director as much as she can so that she can try to control as much of the madness that's going on around them to kind of protect her own people. And in doing so, she's kind of ostracizing herself from the rest of the team. But in order to actually sort of help as best she can, knowing that the things have changed and they just kind of have to accept it. And she even gives May orders. And that was like a kind of scary scene, because scary as in, is May about to punch Simmons? Because now they're being given orders to go and stop Coulson from doing what he's doing. So basically, S.H.I.E.L.D. is turned on our team for the necessity of the Sokovia Accords and reining them in and all the things that they see were done wrong in the previous 3 seasons, especially after, the Winter Soldier and S.H.I.E.L.D. coming down. I mean, seriously, S.H.I.E.L.D. has been kind of not S.H.I.E.L.D. for a while. They've been on the run forever. And this is that restructuring. I've been under a restructuring at a job when all of a sudden you have a whole new management team. And let me tell you something. That is not a fun gig to be under new management, because you never know who you're getting as a boss. And that's kind of what's happening here. We also have the Ultron comparisons here. And that they've decided to keep Ada quiet, not saying anything about Ada until she's perfect. And then the last bit is Coulson and the truck. They find the truck, right? And you have these bad guys who are pissed off that the bodies were found in the truck, because whatever's in this box they obviously saw. And of course, the best idea ever is to reopen that box. Which immediately, very... oh gosh, the Raiders of the Lost Ark. I can't believe I don't remember what it's called. I did one of those where you start to look something up and then it just comes to you, the Ark of the Covenant. So they opened up the box and basically does one of those kind of spooky dust comes out and hits them and like a wave and infects them. And now they're seeing, when they look at each other, they see monsters. But really, there's spirits locked inside in that box, amongst other things, and now are infecting these people and causing them to kill each other. And one of these things brushes past May, which kind of foreshadowing for the end of this episode. But May's team shows up because Coulson's like, let's hang back. But she shows up, they take everyone down, they take everyone into custody. And meanwhile to this happening, Robbie Reyes and Daisy have themselves a good old throwdown. which was really cool and really exciting, and has this great reveal of the Ghost Rider himself. I mean, this show has been impressive with special effects, and the budget has shown in places where you were like, that's a little weak. But this episode, they spent some money on this episode. Between the flipping, muscle car, the explosions, the blood, the Darkhold stuff, the Ada stuff, the framework stuff, and then having the full-on reveal of Ghost Rider and just Quake's powers all over the place in this episode. Just an impressive episode, just like this fight. Ghost Rider versus Quake. What? And Daisy holds her own for a minute. And then the Ghost Rider gets the drop on her. And she's doing everything she can to keep this shell from falling on her. And that's when we realize that Daisy's wishing for death. She's like, kill me, I deserve it. But what she doesn't know, what a lot of the audience won't know, is that Ghost Rider doesn't kill innocents. Ghost Rider's there to punish the guilty. And she's not one of them. And he leaves her there. Now, she doesn't know why, but I'm telling you why, if you don't already know this. The other thing is we have to talk about just briefly is that the pain med she's on, because she's breaking her arms. She's breaking her body apart from the inside using her power. So this is before she gets her gauntlets. This is before she gets the tech that keeps her from breaking her body apart. And we also find out that Robbie Reyes, because one of the themes in this is being attached to things. That one thing that you're attached to. And Robbie Reyes' one thing is his brother, who's in a wheelchair, who's the actor who played Chris on Fear the Walking Dead. I remember the first time I saw this, I was like, that guy? Oh, I don't care if he run him. He's in a wheelchair. Finish the job. But it's not. It's. Sorry, it's just, why? Do I really not like Fear the Walking Dead that much? But that's his attachment. And we don't know his motivations yet, why Robbie Reyes is doing what he's doing, why the Ghost Rider found him. It is all part of the mystery of what's coming up. But the other big thing at the very, very end is that May is infected. And when she looks at Coulson, she sees a monster face come out. So that's episode 1 of 401. It was just an amazing episode. There was so much going on. It's one of the best setup episodes, especially because it's, a lot of these seasons have kind of just, gone right into one to the other and flowed this story. We had this Inhumans arc that started way back in season 1. And now that's over. And so it's kind of like, even though they're trying to clean up the Inhuman mess still, that's like small potatoes considering what else is brought up here. This is a fresh start. This is an arc of things that are coming up here that's leading, it's kind of like that middle season. You got 1, 2, 3, and then you got 5, 6, 7, and 4 in between. That's like this big, dark, epic story. And I think it's a standout because of it. Everything that it's the beginning of a new thing, and it will also be the end of a lot of other things. And so that's all I got for you. I could get really technical about it, but I mean, it was just an amazing episode. All our characters have so much going on that, again, if you're not watching Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., if you haven't gone back and watched Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. from the beginning, I can't recommend this show highly enough. I mean, it's one of the highest rated things that the MCU has ever done. It is considered one of the highest rated, projects. And this is it was rated, I think, as high as Endgame. This show. And people still don't watch it. So, like I said, I highly recommend you guys going back and checking out all the seasons. But that's just the beginning of Season 4, everybody. We'll be back with Season 4, Episode 2. Well, I'm pre-recording all these. In fact, I'm recording this on February 8th. God knows, it could probably be out in March by the time you see this. So who knows what's happened in the world by then. But I just did my taxes, if that's kind of some context of where we are in the world right now. But we'll be back. So if you like this review, please hit the like button, comment, share, subscribe, hit the bell for all notifications. Otherwise, this is Rob saying have a great day, and we'll see you on another Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.